Sir, you need to step outside. Now.
Is there a problem?
I said outside. Let's go.
Checking in. I'd like to speak with the man.
Not here. Move it.
Let go of my arm, please.
You're leaving or I'll escort you out myself.
I'm not resisting you. You're making a mistake.
Then move.
I have every right to be here. Unhand me.
The security guard didn't ask questions first. He grabbed Malik Corbett by the arm and told him to leave the building. Guests in the Ashbourne Grand Hotel lobby stopped and stared, because from the way he was being treated, you would think Malik didn't belong there at all. But what no one in that room knew yet was that this moment was about to cost someone their job. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because the next story is one you don't want to miss. Gavin Rourke was 36 years old and had been working security for over a decade. For the last 4 years, he had been assigned to the Ashbourne Grand Hotel in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, a place known for high-paying guests, corporate events, and strict image control. On paper, Gavin was reliable. He showed up early, followed protocol, and didn't hesitate to act. But among some staff, there was a different reputation attached to his name. There had been quiet complaints, not official reports that went anywhere, but enough for people to notice a pattern. Guests being stopped for verification more often than others, certain people being questioned longer, a tone that shifted depending on who he was talking to. Gavin never saw it as a problem. In his mind, he was just doing his job, identifying risk before it became an issue. That evening, he was standing near the lobby entrance with his partner, Bryce Donnelly, scanning people as they came in. It was routine, quick glances, judging posture, clothing, behavior, who looked like they belonged and who didn't. That was when Malik Corbett walked in. Malik was 54. He moved with a calm, steady pace, dressed in a dark, tailored coat over a simple shirt. Nothing flashy, but everything about him was intentional. He wasn't looking around in confusion like a first-time guest. He walked straight through the entrance like someone who knew exactly where he was going. Gavin noticed him immediately. He leaned slightly toward Bryce. "You see him?" he said under his breath. Bryce followed his gaze but didn't respond right away. Gavin's eyes stayed fixed on Malik. "Yeah, keep an eye on that." Malik continued across the lobby floor, heading toward the front desk. He didn't rush, didn't hesitate, just walked. Gavin stepped forward. "Hey," he called out, sharp enough to cut through the lobby noise. Malik stopped and turned slightly. Gavin closed the distance quickly, positioning himself directly in front of him. Not a greeting, not a welcome, just presence. "Where do you think you're going?" Gavin asked. Malik looked at him calmly. "I'm heading to the front desk." Gavin glanced him up and down, slow and obvious. "You staying here?" "Yes." "Let me see your key." Malik didn't move immediately. "I just arrived." Gavin's expression tightened. "Right, so you don't have one." "I'm checking in." There was a brief pause. Gavin looked over his shoulder at Bryce, then back at Malik. "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to step outside for a second." Malik frowned slightly. "For what reason?" Gavin's tone hardened. "Because I'm asking you to." A few people nearby had started to notice. Conversation slowed, heads turned. Malik didn't raise his voice. "I have a reservation here." Gavin stepped closer, reducing the space between them. "And I'm telling you we've had issues lately, so before you go any further, we're gonna clear something up." "What issues?" Malik asked. Gavin didn't answer directly. "You don't just walk in here like you own the place." Malik held his gaze. "I walked in through the front entrance, like everyone else." Bryce shifted slightly behind Gavin, but didn't intervene. Gavin let out a short breath, like he was already losing patience. "Listen, man, we've had people come in here pretending to be guests before, causing problems. I'm not letting that happen again." Malik's expression didn't change. "So you stopped me?" Gavin nodded once. "That's right." "Based on what?" Gavin didn't hesitate. "Based on what I'm seeing." There was a pause. Malik looked around briefly, at the lobby, at the front desk, at the people pretending not to watch, then back at Gavin. "And what exactly are you seeing?" Gavin's jaw tightened. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Act like you don't understand." The tension in the air shifted. It wasn't subtle anymore. Malik spoke evenly. "I'm asking a simple question." Gavin stepped closer. "You don't look like someone who's staying here." His voice lower now, but more aggressive. There it was. Not hidden, not implied. Clear. Malik let the silence sit for a second. Then he said something quietly, something only Gavin and Bryce could hear, and for the first time since this started, Bryce's expression changed. "What did you just say?" he asked, his voice lower now, less certain. Gavin didn't look at him. His grip on Malik's arm stayed firm. "Doesn't matter," he said. "We're taking him out." Malik didn't raise his voice. "You should listen to your partner." Gavin gave a short, dismissive laugh. "Yeah? And why is that?" Malik held his gaze. "Because you're making a mistake." Gavin tightened his jaw. "No, what I'm doing is my job." He pulled again, harder this time. Malik took a step to steady himself, but didn't follow through. He planted his feet. "I said I'm not leaving," Malik said. Now it was a standoff. Bryce stepped in closer, lowering his voice. "Gavin, maybe we should just—" Gavin cut him off. "No, we're not maybe doing anything." His attention snapped back to Malik. "Last chance. Walk out on your own or I make it happen." A few feet away, people were fully watching now. Conversations had stopped. A couple near the entrance slowly backed away to give space. Someone near the seating area lifted their phone slightly, not obvious, but enough. Malik noticed it. He also noticed the front desk. Caleb Rourke was standing there, frozen behind the counter. He had seen situations before, but not like this. His eyes moved between Gavin's hand gripping Malik's arm and Malik's face. Something about Malik didn't match what was happening. Malik turned his head slightly toward the desk. "You work here?" he asked Caleb. "Yeah," he hesitated. "Good," Malik said calmly. "Then you might want to pay attention to this." Gavin pulled again. "Don't talk to him, you talk to me." Malik didn't even look at Gavin when he responded. "You've already said enough." That hit something. Gavin stepped in closer, now fully in Malik's space. "You think you're smarter than me?" "No," Malik said. "I think you're wrong." That was it. Gavin's patience snapped. He shoved Malik forward, not enough to knock him down, but enough to force movement. "Move." A few people gasped quietly. Bryce raised a hand slightly. "Gavin." Gavin snapped. "I've got it." Malik caught his balance and straightened up immediately. He didn't swing, didn't push back, but his voice changed slightly, firmer now. "Keep your hands off me." Gavin stepped right back in. "Or what?" Malik looked directly at him. "Or this gets worse for you." Gavin shook his head, almost amused. "You hear that?" he said, glancing at Bryce. "He's threatening me now." "I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you to stop." Gavin leaned in closer. "You don't get to tell me anything in here." Malik finally turned fully toward him again. "That's where you're wrong." There was a pause. Bryce shifted again, clearly uncomfortable now. "Gavin, seriously, maybe we should just—" Gavin snapped without even looking at him. "Check what? He doesn't have a key. He doesn't have proof. He walks in here acting like he belongs." "I do belong here," Malik said. Gavin cut him off immediately. "No, you don't." The way he said it made it clear this wasn't about a reservation anymore. Malik studied him for a second. "You decided that pretty quickly." Gavin shrugged slightly. "Doesn't take long." "Based on what?" Malik asked again. Gavin didn't hesitate this time. "Based on experience." Malik held that answer for a moment. Then he said, "Your experience is the problem." That landed. Bryce exhaled quietly. "Okay, all right, let's just slow this down." Gavin turned slightly toward him now, irritated. "Why are you acting like this is complicated?" "Because it doesn't have to be," Bryce said. "We can just verify." "I already did," Gavin said. "You didn't verify anything," Malik said. Gavin ignored him. "I've seen this before. People come in, act confident, try to slip through." "People?" Malik repeated. Gavin's eyes flicked back to him. "Yeah, people." Malik nodded once, slowly. "Say what you mean." Gavin didn't respond to that directly. Instead, he reached for Malik's other arm. "All right, we're done talking." This time, both hands. Now it was no longer just controlling, it was force. Malik's shoulders tensed immediately. "Don't do that." Gavin started pushing him toward the door. "I told you, you're leaving." Malik resisted again, stronger this time, not aggressive, just refusing to be moved. "I'm not going anywhere." The resistance made it worse. Gavin pushed harder. "Then I'll take you out." The movement caused a chair near the entrance to shift slightly as Malik's leg brushed against it. The sound echoed louder than expected. Now everyone was fully locked in. Caleb stepped out from behind the desk, unsure but clearly nervous. "Sir, maybe we should just—" Gavin shot him a look. "Go back to your station." Caleb stopped immediately. Malik looked at him. "What's your name?" Caleb hesitated. "Caleb." Malik said calmly but direct. "Caleb, call your manager." Gavin let out a short laugh. "You don't get to call anyone." Malik didn't break eye contact with Caleb. "Call your manager." Caleb looked between them. Gavin's grip, Malik's composure, the eyes of everyone watching. Gavin's voice cut in again, sharper. "Don't move." Caleb froze. Malik finally looked back at Gavin. "This is your last chance to handle this the right way." Gavin shook his head slowly. "You keep talking like you're in control." Malik's voice stayed steady. "Because you don't understand what's happening." Gavin leaned in, almost nose to nose now. "Oh, I understand perfectly." He lowered his voice. "You walked the wrong place." Silence. Then Malik said, just as calmly, "No, you just stopped the wrong person." For a split second, nothing moved. Then somewhere behind them, a voice cut through the tension. "Gavin." It was sharp, direct, familiar, and it wasn't coming from a guest. "Gavin." The voice came from behind them, sharp, controlled, and familiar. Everything paused for half a second. Gavin didn't let go of Malik immediately, but his grip loosened just enough for him to glance over his shoulder. Elena Marwick was already walking toward them. She moved quickly, heels cutting across the lobby floor, her expression tight and focused. She had been called in the middle of something upstairs, and from the moment she stepped off the elevator, she could tell this wasn't routine. Her eyes went straight to Gavin's hands on Malik. "Let him go," she said. Not loud, not dramatic, just firm. Gavin hesitated. "We've got a situation." "I can see that," Elena cut in. "Let him go." There was a brief pause. Then Gavin released him. Malik adjusted his coat slightly, calm as before, like the last few minutes hadn't just happened in front of an entire lobby. Elena stepped closer, her attention shifting fully to him now. "Sir, I'm sorry for the inconvenience," she said. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," Malik replied. Gavin stepped in again, trying to regain control. He doesn't have a key, no confirmation, he refused to step outside when asked. Elena didn't look at him. "Did you check his reservation?" Gavin paused. "He said he just arrived." "That's not what I asked." Now she looked at him. Gavin shifted slightly. "No, not yet." Elena held his gaze for a second longer than necessary. Then she turned back to Malik. "Sir, your name." "Malik Corbett." The moment the name left his mouth, something changed. It wasn't dramatic, not outwardly, but it was immediate. Elena's posture straightened just slightly. Her expression tightened, not with anger, something else. Recognition. She looked at him again, more carefully this time. "Mr. Corbett?" she said. Malik didn't respond right away. He just watched her. And that was enough. Elena took a small step back. "Oh." That one word carried everything. Behind her, Bryce frowned. "What?" Elena didn't answer him. Her attention stayed locked on Malik. I apologize. I didn't realize you were arriving this evening." Malik's voice stayed even, clearly. Gavin looked between them, confused now. What's going on? Elena finally turned toward him, and the look on her face had changed completely. "Do you have any idea who this is?" she asked. Gavin's expression hardened slightly, defensive. He hasn't provided any identification. Elena took a step closer to him. "This is Malik Corbett." Gavin blinked once. "Yeah, he just said that." Elena's voice dropped. He owns this property. Silence, not just around them, everywhere. It hit the room in a way no one expected. Bryce's head turned sharply toward Malik. Caleb froze completely where he stood. A guest near the entrance lowered their phone slowly, and Gavin didn't react right away, like his brain needed a second to catch up. "What?" he said. Elena didn't repeat herself. She didn't need to. Gavin looked back at Malik, really looked this time. The same man he had grabbed, questioned, tried to force out. "That's not," Gavin started, but the words didn't come together. Malik didn't help him. He didn't explain. He didn't raise his voice. He just stood there, calm. Gavin's eyes flicked to Elena again. "You're serious?" Elena didn't blink. "Very." Another pause, longer this time, the kind that stretches. Bryce took a step back, creating distance without thinking about it. Caleb looked like he wanted to disappear. Gavin's shoulders shifted slightly, not confidence anymore, something else. "Why didn't you say that?" he asked Malik. Malik's answer came without delay. "I tried to speak, you didn't listen." That landed harder than anything else. Gavin opened his mouth again, but nothing came out. Elena stepped in again, her voice controlled but firm. "Walk me through exactly what happened," she said. Gavin hesitated. "He came in, no key, no confirmation. I followed protocol." "You put your hands on him," Elena said. "He resisted." "I watched you from halfway across the lobby," she replied. "He wasn't the one escalating." Gavin's jaw tightened. "We've had issues lately, people coming in." "People?" Elena repeated, the same word Malik had picked up on earlier. Gavin didn't answer. Elena held his gaze for a second longer. Then she turned slightly toward Bryce. "Did he present any threat?" Bryce shook his head. "No." "Did he refuse to identify himself?" "Yes." "Did he do anything that justified physical contact?" Bryce hesitated. Gavin spoke before he could answer. "He refused to leave when instructed." Elena looked back at him. "And that gave you the right to grab him?" Gavin didn't respond, because now it sounded different. Now it sounded like what it was. Malik finally spoke again. "You didn't stop me because of policy." Gavin looked at him. "You stopped me because you decided I didn't belong here." Silence. No one interrupted. No one disagreed. Elena's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did, because she knew that was the part that mattered. Gavin shook his head slightly. "That's not what this is." Malik held his gaze. "Then explain it." Gavin couldn't, not clearly, not without repeating what he had already shown. The way he approached, the way he spoke, the way he escalated. Elena stepped forward again, positioning herself between them, not physically blocking, but shifting control. "Gavin," she said. He looked at her. "This conversation is over." Her tone made it clear this wasn't a suggestion. Gavin exhaled slowly, tension still in his shoulders, but he didn't move, because now he understood something had changed. Not just the situation, the consequences. Elena turned back to Malik, her voice softer now but still professional. "Mr. Corbett, I sincerely apologize for what just happened." Malik didn't respond immediately. He looked around the lobby, at the people who had watched, at the staff who had said nothing, at the officers who had acted without question. Then back at her. "This didn't just happen," he said. Another pause, and this one felt heavier than all the others, because now everyone knew this wasn't a misunderstanding, and Malik wasn't finished speaking. He let the silence sit for a moment before continuing. "This didn't just happen," he repeated, his voice steady. "This is something you've allowed to happen." No one interrupted. Elena held his gaze, listening. Gavin shifted slightly where he stood, but he didn't speak. Malik continued. "He didn't hesitate. He didn't verify anything. He didn't ask questions the way he should have. He made a decision the moment he saw me, and everything after that followed." The words weren't loud, but they carried. Elena nodded once. "I understand." Malik shook his head slightly. "No, you're hearing me. That's not the same thing. Another pause. Behind them, the lobby was still. No one was pretending not to watch anymore. Malik turned slightly, gesturing toward the space around them. "This is your front line," he said. "This is where people form their first impression of this place. And right now, what they're seeing—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Elena took a slow breath. "You're right." Gavin let out a quiet exhale, almost under his breath, like he was trying to reset himself. "This is being blown out of proportion," he said. "I followed protocol. He refused to comply." Elena cut him off immediately. "No, you didn't." Gavin looked at her, frustration starting to show again. "I identified a potential issue." "You created one," she replied. That landed harder. Gavin's jaw tightened. "So what, now I'm the problem?" Elena didn't raise her voice. "Right now, yes." There was a brief silence. Bryce looked down, avoiding eye contact with everyone. Caleb stood near the desk, still watching, still processing. Malik spoke again, calm but direct. "You said you've seen this before." Gavin looked at him. "People coming in, acting like they belong," Malik continued. "That's what you said." Gavin didn't deny it. "That wasn't about behavior. That was about assumption." Gavin shifted his weight. "I go off patterns." "And what pattern did I fit?" Malik asked. Gavin didn't answer, because now there was no way to say it without exposing exactly what it was. Malik nodded once. "Exactly." Another pause. Elena turned fully toward Gavin now. "Step aside," she said. Gavin hesitated. "What?" "Step aside," she repeated. Her tone didn't change, but it was final. Gavin looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. He stepped back. Not far, but enough. Elena turned to Bryce. "You too." Bryce moved immediately, putting space between himself and Malik. Now it was just Malik and Elena standing at the center of it all. Elena spoke carefully. "Mr. Corbett, I take full responsibility for what happened here." Malik looked at her. "Responsibility isn't just words." "I know," she said. "And this isn't just about me," he added. "I'll walk away from this situation just fine, but someone else might not." That sat heavier than anything else, because it shifted the focus from him to everyone else who might come through that door. Elena nodded slowly. "You're right." She turned back to Gavin. "In my office, now." Gavin didn't move. "For what?" Elena didn't hesitate. "Because this isn't the first time your judgment has been questioned." That caught attention. Gavin's expression changed. "That's not—" "I've heard enough," she said. There was no room left to argue. Gavin looked around briefly, at Bryce, at the lobby, at the people watching, then back at Malik. For the first time since this started, he didn't look confident. He looked uncertain. And then he walked, past Elena, toward the hallway. Bryce followed without being told. Elena turned back to Bryce. "I'm going to make sure this is handled properly." Malik looked at her. "It should have been handled before it got to this point." "I agree," she said. Another pause. The tension in the room started to shift now. Not gone, but different. Caleb stepped forward slightly from the desk, still unsure but trying to recover. "Mr. Corbett, your reservation is ready," he said quietly. Malik looked at him, then gave a small nod. "Thank you." Caleb quickly returned behind the desk, pulling up the system, hands moving a little faster than usual. Malik took a step forward, then stopped. He turned back toward Elena one more time. "Respect shouldn't depend on who someone turns out to be." Elena didn't respond right away, because there really wasn't anything to say to that. Malik gave one last look around the lobby. Then he walked toward the front desk. No one stopped him this time. No one questioned him. No one touched him. And the difference was clear to everyone watching. If this story made you think, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to Culture Scope for more real stories like this.